Imagine London in 1350. You walk outside and the smell hits you like a wall. Rotting fish, horse dung, and boiling fat. But somewhere underneath, something smells amazing. We're going back 700 years to see what medieval Londoners actually ate, from the street vendors to the beggars. It might shock you. First, bread was everything, but the type you ate announced your social class. Rich people ate soft white wheat bread. Poor people got dark, heavy loaves made from rye, barley, or even ground-up dried peas. It was often so hard you had to soak it just to bite it. The wealthy didn't even use plates. They used trenchers, thick slabs of bread that they fed to the dogs after the meal. Let's talk about the drinks and the wild street food scene. The water was dangerous, basically an open sewer, so everyone drank ale. It was boiled, which made it safer than the river. Children, workers, even the elderly, everyone drank it. A working man could put away over a gallon of weak, sour ale a day. Most poor Londoners didn't have a kitchen. Fire was too dangerous in their tiny wooden homes, so they bought everything on the street. London had a thriving fast food scene. Hot meat pies, roasted birds, and thick stews were sold at every hour. It was a medieval food festival every single day. But if you wanted real luxury, you needed spices.
So you know how we just go to the store and buy a jar of pepper for like $2? In medieval London, that pepper was worth its weight in silver. Spices, pepper, cinnamon, ginger, cloves, nutmeg came from Asia via long trade routes. By the time they reached London, they were absurdly expensive. Wealthy Londoners went absolutely insane with them. They didn't use spices subtly, they piled them on. A single dish might contain every spice they owned. It wasn't just about taste, it was a pure flex to show everyone in the room exactly what they could afford. Soper Lane was London's most glamorous shopping street, and these spices were the Gucci bags of the medieval era. While nobles were sprinkling their third spice onto roasted swan, about 80% of London was eating pottage. Pottage was a thick stew. Oats, leeks, onions, dried peas, herbs, and whatever scraps of meat or bone you could find. Everything was boiled together in a pot over the fire. And here's the thing that gets me, the pot never fully emptied. Poor families kept a perpetual pottage going, a pot that simmered constantly for days, weeks, sometimes months. You'd add new vegetables when you had them, a bone here, a handful of barley there. Whatever went in became part of the stew. Some historians believe certain peasant pots went years without being fully cleaned out, just continuously simmering, continuously added to. There's actually an old English nursery rhyme about this. Peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold, peas porridge in the pot 9 days old. That rhyme is not an exaggeration, that was someone's actual life. Here's something people don't expect. Medieval London had a thriving street food culture. Most poor Londoners didn't have a kitchen, fire was dangerous and firewood was expensive. Along the Thames riverbank, there was a stretch of cookshops where you could buy hot food at any hour. Travelers could literally grab a meal right off the pier. The menu was wild: roast, fried and boiled fish, hot meat pies filled with eel or pork, roasted birds on sticks, and pastries stuffed with fruit. Cheapside was absolute chaos. Vendors screaming, animals everywhere, the smell of roasting meat mixing with the stench of live chickens and fresh blood. Honestly, it sounds like a medieval food festival, every single day.
Medieval Londoners wasted absolutely nothing. When an animal was slaughtered, they used every part. And I mean every part. Offal, organ, stomach, and brain wasn't considered gross. It was just food. Normal, everyday food. Blood was collected and mixed with oats to make blood pudding. Essentially the early black pudding still eaten today. Trotters' ears and snouts were boiled or roasted. Stomachs were even stuffed with organs, much like modern haggis. Eel was an enormous deal. The Thames was full of them, and eel pies were one of London's most common foods. Jellied eels are still sold in East London today, carrying on a tradition that's over 1,000 years old. So next time you find it weird, just know you're reacting to a perfectly practical food culture. The Catholic Church had massive power over medieval eating habits. No meat on Fridays, Wednesdays, or during the 40 days of Lent. Forbidden from meat for nearly 150 days a year, Londoners created an enormous fish economy. Dried herring was imported by the shipload, alongside cod and salmon. Oysters from the Thames were so abundant they were the city's cheapest food. Wealthy nobles kept private fish ponds, while monasteries became sophisticated fish farmers to meet fasting rules. There were even inspectors checking for forbidden meat. Breaking the fast wasn't just a sin, it was serious legal trouble. In medieval London, religion and food were completely inseparable.
Let's talk about the upper end of the food scale, noble banquets, because these weren't just meals, they were theater. The whole point of a medieval banquet was to impress and intimidate your guests. The food had to be dramatic. It had to be colorful. It had to be impossible. Dishes were dyed bright colors with saffron, sandalwood, or spinach juice. Pastry subtleties, sugar sculptures, were made in the shapes of castles, ships, coats of arms, even scenes from the Bible. Entire roasted animals were reconstructed to look alive and presented at the table. The most theatrical dish of all, the redressed peacock. A peacock was carefully skinned, keeping the feathers intact. The body was roasted. Then the skin and feathers were sewn back onto the cooked bird. The whole thing was brought to the table looking, roughly, like a living peacock. Sometimes a piece of wool soaked in spirits was placed in its beak and lit on fire, so it breathed flames as it was carried in. A fire-breathing peacock. You think your dinner party is impressive? You are not.
So there you have it. Medieval London food, bread that announced your class, and a pot of stew that hadn't been emptied since your grandfather was alive. The food people ate then wasn't random. It made complete sense for the world they lived in. No refrigeration? Salt everything. No clean water? Brew ale. No kitchen? Buy from a street vendor. No wealth? Eat pottage. Food has always been a perfect mirror of the society that made it. If you want to understand a civilization, look at what they ate, who ate it, and who didn't. If you found this interesting, hit like and subscribe for more trips back through history, and drop a comment. What would you miss most about modern food in medieval London?